Hey everybody, welcome back, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Chris. Tonight I'm going to finish up my spring perfume series. I've got 2 spring videos under my belt and I will finish the last 2 tonight. So I already did most of my gourmands. I covered my gourmands in the Easter video, and I covered my long-lasting, inexpensive spring fragrances in the first video. So tonight is going to be fragrances I think I'm going to reach for the most this spring, and also as soon as I'm done filming this video, I'm going to turn around and film my spring vanillas. So behind me, I believe I've pulled 12 fragrances for tonight's video, and since it's going to be another marathon night of filming, I'm just going to dive right in. So in addition to the ones that I really enjoy, I wanted to show you some new ones that I think are going to be perfect for spring, and those that I know I'm going to be reaching for. In fact, the vast majority of the fragrances that are behind me, I've never spoken about. So between the 4 videos I have for my spring series, hopefully there's something for everybody. I'm going to start the list with a flanker of the Musc Dior line, and it's the only bottle I own from that entire line, and I feel like I'm not missing out because I really enjoy this fragrance and I think I feel pretty complete. And it is Musc Dior Absolutely Blooming. This is a fruity floral, but it's not an average fruity floral in my opinion. The main floral is rose, and it has several fruits. It's got pomegranate, I believe, black currant, and raspberry, but this also has pink pepper. I have found that I really enjoy pink pepper, and I think it imparts a nice kick or zing to a fragrance, and it's in this flanker. So I feel like it gives it a little bit of a punch, a little zingy punch, and it also gives it a little bit of uniqueness. I know a lot of people don't really like to wear fruity florals because they find them juvenile. I've heard people say that, but this is kind of a grown-up fruity floral. It's got that pink pepper, there is patchouli in the dry down, and it's really nice and musky. I do think that it is universally appealing, but it does have a really pretty uniqueness to it, and I think it's great for spring, and that's why it made my list. So the next fragrance you have never heard me talk about because I bought it at the end of summer last year, and it is not a fall or winter fragrance. This is spring in a bottle, and it is by the perfumer Alberto Morealis, and there's a reason why I tell you about the perfumer, and it's called Le Chant de Camargue, and it is by La Maison Parfumeurs, and this was created to capture the sights and the smells of a place in southern France, the Camargue area. And it is a sweet, powdery, slightly salty floral note with a very prominent rice note or rice powder accord. It's very floral, it's very earthy, it's very creamy, and apparently that's what it smells like when you are down in that region. Now the region apparently is famous for its pink salt lakes, and apparently flamingos are down there, so it's a very pink area. This is supposed to be a very pink fragrance, and apparently it was built around this powdery rice accord that Morealis created from scratch. And I would say it is definitely a floral fragrance. I have nothing that smells like this, and the florals are very peculiar. I can't really pick out a floral, and I believe there's white flowers in here. It's not like anything I've ever smelled, and I know there's hedione in here, a rice accord, a rice powder accord. There's bergamot in the beginning, and I will say it smells kind of like lime to me. It's nice and fresh, and then it dries down into this kind of this powdery rice sandalwood fragrance. Even though this is a very creamy fragrance, there's also something kind of salty about it, and I'm not exactly sure where that's coming from, but I get something a little bit salty. Maybe like a salty vanilla was tossed in there, even though I'm gonna look up the notes after I finish this, and I'll put the notes up here, but maybe there's like a salty vanilla added in, but very unique, screams spring to me. I definitely will be wearing this. This is a feminine leaning fragrance, I would say for sure. There's something very feminine, very floral, very powdery, very delicate and creamy, and it just is a pretty fragrance. It is, I would say this is a pink fragrance for sure. If I were to think of a color for this fragrance, I would think of like a pastel pink or a pastel purple. That's kind of what it smells like to me. But one I plan on giving a lot of love to this spring and summer. So the next one is one of the few ones I've had for a long time. It's an oldie but a goodie. Well, it's a new oldie but a goodie, and it's Angel EDT, the 2019 version. This is my favorite version. The original Angel, even though I believe that it is a total masterpiece, some of that can be hard to take, even though the dry down of that fragrance is absolutely gorgeous on anyone who wears it. But this one is just a little bit lighter version. It's better for spring and summer. They have removed kind of the funkiness that was in Angel, some animalic funkiness that was in there. They have removed the white chocolate note. There's a praline note in here. And then in place of those kind of funky animalic notes of the original, there's some fruitiness to it. I believe there's apple, maybe some red berries. So it's just it's a fruitier, lighter, easier to wear version of the original masterpiece, and something that I find perfect to wear in the spring. There's still a lot of patchouli in here, particularly in the dry down, but it is much more tamed down when compared to the original. So this will be my choice for a spring. The next one I've only showed one time, and if you watched my Easter video, you would have seen it. To me, this fragrance just screams spring. It's just spring in a bottle. It's by Christian Dior, and it's called Lucky. First of all, the color of the juice is light green, so that just makes me think of spring. And this just is a fabulous spring fragrance because it's very fresh. It has a little bit of greenness to it. It's a little bit floral. It is really a floral fragrance. It's based on delicate white flowers and lily of the valley, and lilies always make me think of spring and Easter time. It has some really nice musk in the dry down. It's got a really lovely soft greenness to it, but it's not sharp. The florals are present, but they're not heady. They're not heady white florals, and it is clean and refreshing without being soapy. So I think they've done this beautifully. I posted it on Instagram and got lots of comments on people who just love this fragrance, including a lot of men think this is fabulous. So surprisingly, it is perfectly unisex. I've already worn it on some warmer days. We've had a couple warm days this month, and people around me really enjoyed it. It doesn't last forever. It is a quiet fragrance. It does not have great longevity. I would say 4 hours tops. So if you want more than 4 hours, you're probably going to need to make a little decant and carry one with you. But I don't care. It's a fabulous fragrance. It's perfect for spring, and I'll be wearing it a ton. Another one that is new to me is one that I've had in a basket, in one basket or another, gosh, over the past year. I just never got a sample, and I knew that I would have to blind buy, and I didn't want to do that, and I just finally did it. I felt it was somewhat safe because it has a strong note of ylang in here. So I finally purchased it because I thought it would be really good for spring and summer, and I'm really happy with it. It's a nice, very unique fragrance, and it's called Kiss Me Intense by Parfums de Nicolai. I have one other by this house, and this is what I would describe as a bright floral that wants to be a gourmand, but is not quite gourmand. I currently own two fragrances that I would describe as being sparkly. There's something about them that make them sparkly in the opening. One would be this one, and the second one is Elisab Le Parfum Royal. There's something about those fragrances that during the opening, there's something that sparkles. It's almost like there's a note of champagne in here. There isn't, I checked. I know there's lemon, there are some spices. I think there's clove and cinnamon. The ylang ylang note is very strong, and you get it right away. And I wasn't really sure what was giving it the effervescent, and I looked at the notes, and it's just lemon and spices, so that must be it. There is almond in here, and it's kind of down the middle. It's not bitter, and it's not really sweet. It's just maybe giving it a little bit of a powderiness. I also think there might be some heliotrope in here. So there is a little bit of a powdery note here. This fragrance is definitely one I would call a shapeshifter. It starts off very sparkly and bright and effervescent and floral and a little bit tart, maybe a little bit tart in the opening, and it completely changes and becomes soft, a soft, powdery floral in the dry down. For me, I would just wear this in the spring and summer and maybe in the fall. I haven't tried wearing it in the cold. I bet it would do fine in the cold, but right now, that ylang-ylang note, the powderiness, the effervescence of it all, just reads spring to me. So I plan on giving this a good go in the spring. So the next one is a recent pickup from the house of EBK, a house that I really enjoy. And it is called Deep in Desire Yacht. I showed this for my big haul I had about a month ago. It is the fragrances in here just speak to me. I think they're done with amazing quality and the packaging is absolutely stunning. These bottles are just breathtakingly beautiful. The reason why I wanted to have it for the warmer months is that it's got some notes I think that'll play so nicely in the warmer months. And it was also, I think the inspiration for this fragrance was centered around a mega yacht, like a huge mega yacht. And whenever you think of yachts, you think of summer being out on the water. So the notes in here, there are black grapes, there's a tea note, there's grapefruit or grapefruit peel, there is a nuttiness to this. I think it's hazelnut. This smells so nice. It has a nice woodiness to it, a clean wood. I believe it's cedar wood, and there's a note of dark chocolate. And I don't pick up dark chocolate per se, but I do get a nice sweetness in the dry down, which I assume is coming from the dark chocolate. So in a nutshell, this smells like a nutty, woody blueberry muffin, like the freshest nutty blueberry muffin you could find. It is stunning. Disclaimer, this smells remarkably similar to One Umbrella for Two. In fact, I did a double take when I smelled this for the first time because I have One Umbrella for Two. Fortunately, I only have a travel spray, but I always have people wanting to know if one fragrance I show smells similar to another fragrance, because a lot of people are smart and they don't like to duplicate or have fragrances that smell the same. And in that case, One Umbrella for Two and this fragrance smell very similar. The difference is in the dry down. The dry down I like much better on this one. There's just something about the way they compose their fragrances. They're just seamless and beautiful and velvety and gorgeous and lovely. And I also get the performance on this is 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. It's gonna last you all day, just like all the other EBKs. So perfect. I'm really excited to wear this in the warmer months. So the next one, I have a subscriber or viewer to thank. And if you recommended this to me, please let me know in the discussion. I couldn't find who it was, but whoever you are, thank you. And I have you to thank for my beautiful Rouge Velours. I have several in this line. This line by Yves Saint Laurent is stunning. I love basically everything they put out in this particular line. And this is a rose, patchouli, pink pepper, jasmine fragrance. I'm sure there are other notes in here, but these are the notes I get. Maybe there's a tea note, but this is basically rose, jasmine, pink pepper, and patchouli. So I can smell each one of those notes. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is a very unique fragrance. It's a unique rose fragrance. It does not smell like every other rose fragrance. The rose in here is sweet, but it's not like overly sugary, jammy sweet. And it smells kind of like the juice, the color of the juice. I really have found that I enjoy the note of pink pepper, and when it's infused with florals, the fragrances really work for me. Longevity is moderate. The couple times I've worn it, I would say 4 to 6 hours. I've only worn it like 3 or 4 times. And it's just a stunning fragrance. So thank you, whoever you are, for recommending this to me, because I'm gonna have a lot of fun wearing it in the next couple months. So I had to have a Delina or a flanker in a spring video. And the one I chose is Delina Exclusif because I really enjoy the fragrance, and it still can be a little bit cold here. And I think the Delina Exclusif works way better in the colder months because it's got that Delina DNA, but it has some really nice, rich gourmand notes as well. To me, it smells like Delina minus some of that greenness, that sharpness. Maybe it's the rhubarb. And it's got like this, I would call like a vanilla ice cream note. It's got this beautiful vanilla. There is incense in here. I don't get a ton of incense at all, but I do, if I like bury my nose where I sprayed on my clothes or on my arm, I do get the oud. I do not get it wafting in the air. I get more of the rose, the lychee, and the vanilla. For me, it's a little bit better in the air. I love it as it's wafting in the air. This fragrance is gorgeous. I have worn it several times. It is a compliment getter. It lasts, one of the longest lasting fragrances in my collection. I sprayed this on my body and on my clothes and in my hair one day, and 24 hours later, I could still smell it in my hair. It is a beast. So a beautiful Delina flanker that I am choosing for spring. I wanted to choose a sandalwood for this video, and I needed something that was still going to smell good, or something I wanted to pull for when it was a little chilly and as it got warmer. And I think this sandalwood fragrance is perfect in that situation. I don't think you've heard me talk about it before. It's new from this year, last year, but it's Santal Austral. And this is one that Picky Pat approves of. I had my fragrances out in a little basket last night, getting them together for today's video. He picked this one up. He said, "Oh, what's this?" He smelled it and said, "Wow, that smells really, really good." So this is a sweet, vanillic, ambery sandalwood. It's similar to, so it's a sandalwood that wants to become or trying to become a gourmand. It's similar to Santal Complet, similar, but with big differences. There's no lemon in here. There's no coconut in here. And instead, this has this really nice vanillic, ambery, resinous sweetness. There's also tonka bean in here and some iris. So maybe that's where I'm getting the powderiness. So in the colder spring, I would pull for this. I wore this in the winter time. I'm not sure I'll be wearing this when it's hot. It's just very heavy. And I'll probably pull Santal Complet for that reason, because that one is a ridiculously light sandalwood fragrance. This one, oh my gosh, this one is another beast. It will last all day. And I'm talking like 8 to 10 hours, depending on your skin chemistry, but it'll last days on your clothes. Perfectly unisex, gorgeous fragrance. So the next one, I have my lovely friend Melissa Jean to thank for. We're always swapping fragrances. We're doing tons of sample swaps. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend. It's a great way to try fragrances without having to blind buy. So we send each other samples all the time. I never owned the original Burberry Her EDT, the one that had the strawberries and it was supposed to smell like Baccarat 540. I never owned it. I never had the desire. I have Baccarat 540 and I love it and I'm done. Like, I don't need to be looking for things that smell like that. That one's perfectly fine by me. That's a desert island fragrance. So I would have never purchased the new EDT that came out if it wasn't for Melissa. And I absolutely love it. She sent me a sample and I just loved it right away. And it's very spring. It screams spring. Another one, so this is the EDT. Another one that kind of screams spring for the light green color and what's in here. I would describe this as a green, fresh, fruity floral. So the florals are, there's rose in here. I want to say there's honeysuckle and some peony. There might be another floral and a little bit of some fruity greenness from the pear. So the pear gives it this nice, fresh, crisp, fruity greenness. There's also blackcurrant and strawberry. I do pick up the strawberry like 5 minutes into the fragrance. I get the strawberry, not right away. It takes a couple minutes. This is one of those fragrances that, I mean, it's not super unique. It's not groundbreaking, but it is one of these no-brainer, easy reach, universally appealing, something that works in every situation. Perfect fragrance for spring and summer. And for an EDT, this has really good performance. I want to say 6 hours is what I'm getting for this. So great fragrance, easy reach, no-brainer for the spring and summer. So I'm going to end the list with some nighttime spring fragrances or maybe date night fragrances during the spring. So fragrances that are a little bit richer and warmer and just, in my opinion, will be better for the night. And the first one I'm picking is Amouage Material. Boy, do I love this fragrance. And Amouage can be difficult for me. I made the mistake of blind buying an Amouage or two in the past, and I will never make that mistake again, because one of those fragrances was like the worst thing I ever smelled. It was terrible. And Amouage, they try to be very, complicated and out of the box and very unique, but I have found that blind buying that house does not work. And so I got a sample of this back in the summer of last year with an order of mine, and I loved it, but I wanted to wait for kind of the colder months. And I ended up getting it, I want to say December, was at the end of 2021. And I love it. It is a gorgeous, spicy, ambery vanilla. It's absolutely stunning. So beautiful warm spices. I think there's incense in here and a gorgeous woodiness in the dry down. This is, to me, like a 10 out of 10 vanilla amber. This is perfect for me. And longevity, like all amouages, it's beast mode. It's crazy. It's gonna last a good 8 hours. So this is going to be my date night fragrance, my going out fragrance, or I'm gonna pull for it on a cold day like today. Cold and rainy. I wore a sweater today, so still have plenty of time to wear this. I don't know if this is gonna work out during the night for the summer, who knows? It reads colder weather to me, so it may get a good workout this spring. I'm gonna be wearing this a lot in the next couple months until it gets super hot. So the last one was an absolute love at first sniff. I got the Discovery set, and the second one in was this one. It is Musc Des Sables. And again, it was my second tester or my second sample, and I stopped. I still have not finished doing that Discovery set, and I smelled this last summer. I thought, oh, gorgeous, I'm done. I want this bottle. I don't even need to smell the rest. I'm done. This is another spicy, ambery, vanillic fragrance. If I were to name this fragrance, I would have named it Ombre de Sable. This to me is more of an amber, a vanillic amber, than it is a musk. That's just me. It has a lovely, spicy amberiness to it. There's vanilla in here. I'm sure there's some sort of resinous notes. There is patchouli in here, but it is a gorgeous, smooth patchouli without any edges, no earthiness. It's not dirty, and it dries down very powdery. It's a very powdery but absolutely stunning fragrance. It's just one that just really speaks to me. This is classy and luxurious and alluring. This is a sexy fragrance. I just wanted to wear it to work, and literally half my colleagues were asking me 5 minutes in, what are you wearing? You smell so good. It's just gorgeous, kind of a dressed up fragrance. And longevity is great. It lasted all day on me. It got started off pretty strong, and then it got a little bit quiet at the 6 hour mark, but I could still smell it without a problem. So I'm gonna end my list with this one. So that's it, 12 more picks for spring fragrances I'm going to be pulling for a lot in the next 3 months. We have at least 2 more solid months of spring here, and who knows, a lot of these will last into the summer. And I'd love to get your thoughts on today's video. Do you have any of these? And if so, what do you think? Thank you again for sticking around. Thank you for supporting me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. I think I purchased it at the end of summer, and it is not a fall and winter fragrances. To me, this just kind of springs this to me, this kind of, and I think the second one in was Musc Des Sables. 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 It is Musc Des Sables in my crappy French accent.